favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine, giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's another episode of Mike and Blaine. I'm Mike Mylan, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my friend, my partner, the CEO of Dry Run, Blaine Birch. What's up, man?
First one in 2026 in Canada. So background, Canada, outside, freezing cold, Canada. So anyway, it's we're back in the Great White North, and so you can watch my my Canadian accent come creeping back in over the next 3 weeks.
Hey, so what happens when you cross the border? Do they give you a box with your accent back or what? Because it's almost instant.
Really?
I was like, that was quick. He's right back to it.
I did have a meeting today, and I walked up and I ordered an Americano, and she kind of looked at me weird. Americano? Yes. So it probably won't take too long to get beaten back into me, I think. So
yeah. So the drive, I mean, your drive was just awesome. I envy that 2 weeks every year that you do that. I mean, you go from Phoenix or Scottsdale area right over to San Diego and up. I mean, almost all the way up the coast, right?
Yeah, just north of San Diego. It's kind of our annual vacation because other time it's a great time. It's quiet. There's not a lot of people out there. We can get hotels, really nice hotels for a really good price. And also you get to March and April and the CFOs are all busy and don't want to talk with us during year end anyway. We just went north of San Diego. We went to Oceanside into the places we stay were like this cool little, totally renovated, beautiful little surfer cabins, these little brick sort of cabins, just a couple blocks from the beach. And then we went down to Encinitas. We actually went south a little bit, stayed in Encinitas for like 4 days, which I love Encinitas. Just the bars and restaurants and breweries and everything there. I swear the best tacos we have are in Encinitas. And then we worked up all the way up the coast. So we went, through into Northern California, and we were in Sonoma, a night in wine country. And then we were in Oregon, we were in Newport. And then we spent 3 days in Cannon Beach, which I absolutely love. And then in Canada, popped into Jasper for a night, connected with my co-founder in Vancouver for a night at a brewery. And then we headed up to Jasper. So yeah, it's a fantastic trip, but I got to tell you, the last 2 days of driving are you're starting to get tired. Up till that, it's not bad, but those last 2 days are like, oh boy, I'm starting to get tired. And by the time we got home, just a bit of a zombie. So, all
right. So if you didn't stop though, how long does it take to get from Scottsdale to Edmonton?
If we go straight in hours, it's about 24, 26 hours total. So we'll do that usually over about 4 days. You go to the coast and then you come back from the coast, you're adding at least probably 15 more hours. Like there's, 6 over to the coast and then back, maybe not quite that much, but yeah, you're adding a couple of days worth of time. And then of course we do a bunch of stops and we hang out in places for, I think we were in Southern California for over a week before I can't believe like a week and a half ago, we were lying on the beach in Oceanside and now I'm looking outside and it's like threatening snow. Like, why do we leave? You guys keep kicking us out or I'd still be in Oceanside, man. I don't think we would have left.
There you go. So this is Mike and Blaine, Business, Beer, and BS. You got a big dose of BS right there. What are you drinking though? I mean, let's talk about the beer. You're back in Canada, so you got a different selection up there now.
Different selection. So I realized our fridge was absolutely empty, except I've got a couple of 10% big bottles of barrel-aged stout. I'm like, yeah, I can't crack into that. So I ran down the block quickly to a great little liquor store, but it's mostly a great wine store and fantastic whiskey. But they did have this. So I got this bent stick, 4:30 p.m. It's a really nice stout. These guys are gonna.
Right now. That's almost right now. 4:30.
It's for you. I'm like it's about 3:30 for me, but 4:30. And Bent Stick is actually a great little brewery there, and it's like 4.5%. It's like a Guinness, except it's a little more interesting. And I always like to support craft. Great local brewery in the brewery district in Edmonton. I'm sure we'll be there over the next week or two popping in. And so when I saw that, I'm like, I'm going to promote those guys today. And they make some really good beer. How about you?
Right on. Hey, it's springtime. Fishing's in full spring, or spring. Yeah, full swing. That's what it is. So I went with an Austin-ish beer. It's Dripping Springs. It's called Twisted X Brewing. It's up near Austin, Texas, and it's a Kolsch. And I don't know what it is, but a Kolsch in the spring or in a hot summer really just hits right. So got a marlin on the front, and I mean, hey, ready to go fishing in the Gulf. I mean, this is going to be a perfect beer for today. So I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah, nice pick. I've actually had some really nice Kolsch lager, some other German beers, like nice craft beers over this last year that have been outstanding. And it feels like the craft industry, they went really heavy IPA stout, barrel aged stout. They're doing and weird ones. But what I really like is that some of them are just doing like Czech Pilsner, and it is outstanding. I had a rice beer in Arizona before I left, and I don't know, I grabbed it, but like the guy said, yeah, it's good. So I tried it. It was outstanding. It tasted like a Czech Pilsner. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is an outstanding beer. They only had it for a few weeks, then it was gone. It was at Pinnacle Brewing, which is a fantastic brewery in Scottsdale. If you're fighting the heat in Scottsdale, go over to Pinnacle. Great spot to be.
Got it. Hey, speaking of our beer sponsors, I mean, so if you want to be one of our beer sponsors and enjoy this type of promotion of your brand, of your company, it only costs $5 an episode. It's the best $5 you've ever spent on your brand in your life. Today, I'm going to talk about Karen Hairston. She's up in Michigan at 3S Spark Consulting. She's got an Amazon bestseller out there called Stop Growing Broke, Start Growing Your Profit. And go get it. Go buy the book. And if you're struggling in your business, go check out 3S Smart Consulting up in Michigan.
And neighbor Pat, who we actually featured on the show a few weeks ago, or at least about a month ago, always bringing you great beer, but he makes his own beer, brews his own beer. I get so jealous because I get to see all the cool stuff. Pat, I hope you're listening. Get to see all the cool stuff you make. And then get to watch Mike drink it. So that's kind of like, that's kind of too bad. But anyway,
you know what? He tells me all the time, tell me when Blaine's coming. And then silent. Crickets.
I know I'm overdue to hop in a plane. Although I got to tell you, this winter was not very attractive to go to the airport. It was like not feeling like that might be the best place to go right now. So
no, but he sees that you're willing to go to Houston and to Austin. It's just, I don't know. We're like the stepchild of Texas or something like that here in San Antonio.
Yeah, well, not this year. This year, I hung around Scottsdale, and we didn't move too much. We didn't venture into Texas, but I know it's on the list. I'll have to make it over there. Hopefully next winter. There, I'll come visit you guys and have some patio beer. So,
all right, and we still got Devin. Devin, the best LSU fan on the planet. This guy, I'm gonna tell you what, Netflix superstar from an SEC documentary. One of the first opening scenes, this guy is just front and center. I mean, if you've ever wanted to be on Netflix in a documentary and you are the solo act in a scene, that's him. He is cheering on his team in Las Vegas, by the way. They're playing in Las Vegas during that. So he's at the Allegiant Stadium. Have you ever seen that? It looks like a big Roomba in the middle of town.
No, I've probably seen pictures, but it sounds great.
I'm telling you, if you go look like at a picture of the stadium from the top down, it looks like a Roomba running around Las Vegas.
Oh, nice. Okay, tiny bit of BS. All we do coming up the coast is we listen to podcasts, and I highly recommend How I Built This with Guy Raz. If you're an entrepreneur, the stories. He's such a great storyteller. Interviews, but he interviewed the founder of Roomba. And so they talked about how they came up with it and some of the challenges they had and and their sort of how they're leading, robotics in a lot of ways. And the founder of Roomba is starting a new startup after an exit. So I'm really curious what they'll come up with because they've been leaders in robotics for a long time. So it should be kind of cool.
Now, see, that's what I want to talk about now. We have a different topic, but that's what I wanted to talk about. All right, but Roomba, and I've had Roomba for, I don't know, almost 10 years now, and we don't even use them anymore, it seems like. Isn't that weird? I mean, we just don't use them as much as we used to. I mean, we got it. But I also have all the scars on the bottom of the furniture from the Roomba too.
Oh, well, that would dissuade you pretty quick. So I almost bought a robot before we left because I want something to drive around the house and check the house for, especially the one that's always a concern is if like the fire suppression system leaks or something. Water is always a big concern, right? And so I saw one that is made by Ring, but it's still in closed beta, and it's just a little drone. And if something flags in the house or something moves, or you just ask it to, it just takes off and it flies around your house and it'll check. Just looks around with the camera and checks your house for you. Wasn't quite available yet, so I bought just a ridiculous number of Ring cams, and some of them do the little, you can control where they look and stuff. I got the entire house covered. I got cams like everywhere, just while we're gone, so I can keep track of water.
So now I'm going to get this drone, and what's going to happen is, I'm going to schedule this for something weird, and it's going to get pinged on something, fly off in the middle of the night, come back and like tap you on the head, like, hey, wake up, you got a leak.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you'll be walking down the hall half asleep, bam, just smack you right in the forehead and wake you up.
Yeah. All right, so that kind of leads into the topic, right? Because we're talking about the death of the expert. Wow, you and I are experts in almost nothing. When it comes right down to
it, all the topics we talk about, we know nothing about. Now, if you cash flow, we both could talk about business cash flow, but I know you guys don't listen to us talk about business cash flow every week, and we don't want to do that because that's all we talk about all week. So, so we're gonna continue on our non-expert ways and complain about people that act as experts who aren't.
Just that is one of my favorite parts about this podcast is the fact that we don't talk about the things we're experts in, right?
Yeah. But I don't think we make claims that we know anything. See, that's the difference. And that's what I think I love this topic, because there are no shortage of people that make outrageous claims that they're experts, that they make all sorts of promises, and they're good at taking your money. And that is literally about it.
All right. So after my name, right, there's MBA. I never put it on there, but some people have CPA, some people have MD, some people have, I don't even know what they are anymore. Certified Financial Planner, CFP. I think they should create a new certification or a new classification that's WIFI, Wi-Fi. As long as I have Wi-Fi, I can have any answer to anything.
That's exactly.
So I'm gonna start putting that after my name, just Mike Mylan Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. And the biggest competition they have is AI, because AI still professes to be an expert. And frankly, it probably is more of an expert in a lot of things than some of these self-proclaimed experts. But it's also pretty sketchy usually too.
Yeah. So if you haven't picked up on the topic of today, it's the death of the expert, right? The death of the expert. And the point I wanted to make today was it's the most confident voice that gets the attention or wins, not the most correct one, right? It's the most confident one, always. Not the most correct one.
Always. But I 100% agree with you, but I will put forward, what if it's the rise of the expert? Because people have been getting some hard lessons for a lot of years now. And I wonder when it's almost like seeing old 3D graphics. There's a certain point where it's like the first time it's like, well, that's amazing. And then after a while, it's like, oh, that looks super fake. And I wonder if that will start to happen, or maybe it's already happening, that people are getting to be a little bit more discerning. I actually had a conversation this afternoon with a friend of mine. We were having coffee, and he's highly experienced entrepreneur. And I actually mentioned to him that, some of the mistakes I think we made in over the last number of years, not recently, was taking advice of the people that sounded the most confident And what it turns out is they sounded the most confident and they knew the least. So at this point now, our go-to for everything is, have they done it? I'll listen to another entrepreneur that has done it. Doesn't mean that they have to have been successful, but they have been through the fight as an entrepreneur, as a founder, not as a founding team. You see those too. It's like, I created $800 jillion in sales. Yeah, you're an SDR on a sales team for 3 weeks. No, you didn't. Like, give me a break. Right?
That was the most powerful thing you said in kind of the pre-warm-up that we do, just kind of getting everything set up, is that, I have to have done it. Now I'm on the faculty at the Graduate School of Banking at Colorado. It's one of the hardest rooms to walk into to teach bankers that are already executives in programs, right? Because to get into this program, you already have to have the background, be sponsored by a bank, and be in a succession plan where you're going to be the next president or CEO or something of a bank, or executive leadership, right? Yeah. How many years banking do you think I have experience?
Years banking. Well, I don't know did you work at a bank? I know you've advised banks for probably 20 years.
Yeah,
but you've never worked in banking.
I guess I did help Truly Financial kind of get off the ground, right? So but that's not. I don't have any banking experience, so to speak, because that's still, to me, Truly Financial is still a software company, right? Yeah. We're just it's just a software company. So, but look at that. I walk in, and every year I've got 300 bankers, right? 2 classes of 150 or so bankers apiece.
Yeah.
And I have to be the expert, right? Because I'm leading the class, and they've signed up for the class. So one of the first things I do is say, hey, listen, I want to let you know I've never worked in a bank. Well, that I think that shocks a lot of people to see right off the bat. Wait a second, you're on the faculty. You've been on the faculty of a graduate school of banking for 10 plus years, from LSU to University of Washington, Pacific Coast Banking School to Colorado, and you've never worked in a bank?
Yep.
Now, you look at expertise a couple different ways. I said, that's not what I'm teaching. I'm not teaching you how a bank operates. I'm teaching you how a small business operates.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is completely different. Opposite.
Completely different, right? Because you're trying to get my business. You're trying to talk to me. You're trying to create a better bankable business owner, right? Or help me be better with my banking relationships. If you don't understand how I think and what the struggles I'm dealing with on a daily basis, there's no way that you can have a great interaction with me, because I'm going to think you're dumb, right? Just like the title of my book, you don't understand my business, DUMB.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that gives me some credibility right off the bat. That they know if they have a banking question that's way deep in the infrastructure of a bank. I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it, because I've talked to thousands of bankers. Everybody tends to do things a little differently. I know what happens in a business. I don't know what happens in a bank.
Yeah, and I think that's the misconception that if you asked who knows the most about business, and I bet you people will say banker, lawyer, and accountant. And like, it's not true. They know portions that relate to business, reporting, legal, financing, but that doesn't translate into them understanding how you start and grow and scale a business. It is a completely different skill set.
Hey, exactly right. Right. A banker can't help you solve an HR problem. A lawyer can help you develop a marketing message. Just like that's just it. Now you talk to a small business owner, they'll tell you, oh, here's what I had to do. And I'm really interested in that story. Even if it's not my business, maybe you're in software and I'm in restaurants. I'm like, I might be able to pick up a little bit from whatever they just did, because they're still trying to attract customers and provide a service or a good or something.
And business owners, oftentimes they know more than they give credit for. Like, I think business owners so often suffer from imposter syndrome, yet they have the hard miles. They have experience. They've learned things the hard way. They don't know they understand. May not know the lingo sometimes, the terminology. They haven't got the books read, but they understand a lot of these things to their core. And so, and we see, like you said, these experts and influencers and that they cross everything, but, only looking in that frame, that context of business expertise, I find it frightening how dangerous some of these so-called experts are. But if you ignore them, they actually tend to set sometimes a really low barrier. You're looking at some of the business expertise, marketing expertise. Everybody, like the not everybody, but the large majority may follow sometimes some really bad advice, and it gives you the opportunity to use your insight or some good advice from other people that have actually done it, and put it into context with your customers and everything, and really excel, because it's too often it's the entire crowd is doing it kind of wrong, and it actually sets you up for success if you're smart about
it. I see that all the time. I mean, because I'm in that coaching training space. So what do you think my social feeds are full of?
Oh, experts. Yeah. Experts
and coaches. And it's like almost instantly now I can tell the bullshit that's happening right off the bat. I'm like, you can't do that. Nope. Yep. I mean, almost instantly. Yeah. Right.
They follow the same template. It's everyone has a template from some other supposed smart person. How many experts that promise you're going to make millions of dollars doing whatever haven't actually they've made millions of dollars off of the suckers that pay them for advice they've never done it themselves. It's rampant,
Well, and that's why we don't trust experts anymore, right? Because if we really look back, if you're honest about what you've seen in the news or on TV or on social media for the last 10 years, right? The rise of social media. Mm-hmm. If you really look at it, we have seen colossal failure after colossal failure after failure of people that knew, that were the experts, that had every answer that we thought they should have, and they were wrong time after time. Yeah. I mean, I don't care if it's even GameStop, right? No financial expert would have, thought that GameStop was going to have that colossal run, because it was manipulated by just a bunch of nobodies like me.
That were smart enough, that knew it. They knew what they were doing, and some got rich off of that because they kind of were almost poking fun, and it turned into a serious run.
Yeah, and it was all in fun. There was no fundamentals. If you're an expert and you're like, oh no, this should do this. It should be valued at 10x. It should not have been. It was just a bunch of people, because there's such thing as arbitrage, or where you can actually put so much pressure on it. If everybody just starts buying at the same time, price goes up. That's all they did, was a bunch of nerds got together and said, hey, let's just fuck around with GameStop and start buying it. And the price went up. And then the big investors got in. So it's guys like me and you just kept buying it, running the stock up. Then the investors go, hey, something's going on there. And they put their money in. And as soon as they put their money in, then the little guys got out. It was perfect, because it was the opposite forever. It's been the opposite forever, where the big guys would put their money in. It would raise the stock price real fast. And then we go, oh shit, something's happening there. Throw our money in there. Then they'd bail on us and steal our money. It was a reversal of fortune.
It was beautiful. The key, the thing that I found over the last, like when I look back to some key conversations I've had, let's say over the last 5 years, over even the last 10 years, but even shorter term, some of the absolute best insight and smartest observations I've got were almost sneaky. Like you almost have to pick it out of the sentence and out of because a lot of times it's not coming from this overwhelming confidence. And we're used to like confident, over the top and just 100%. You got to do it this way. You got to do it this way. And the way you filter a lot of that out is you actually have to say the people that are the most confident tune them out, because I find the ones that are sort of almost the most humble, the quietest, and it's just sort of comes out. It's like, oh, here's a story. This is, I kind of did this. And you're kind of like, oh, that could work for us. That is brilliant. Or just some observations from other entrepreneurs that have done it. And it so rarely comes off as brash. It's because they've been through the fight. They know how hard it is, and they know there's no black and white answer, one size fits all. Is it the Dunning-Kruger effect, where it's the least the more confident you are, and then the more the least confident you get. It's just bizarre, right?
That's right. The ones that are easy for me to filter out, I think the TV did it to me, is perceived bias. If I think that you have a bias, I automatically ignore it. Right.
Yeah.
Right or left, up or down, whatever. I mean, if I think that you're trying to sway my decision some way or the other, left or right, that bias, that language, and that's been marketing. You got to realize that that has been in every marketing class since the 50s, right? We're watching Mad Men right now, and it's about changing the perception or the perspective or the bias of the buyer. And I've become really in tune with that type of language, and I ignore it.
Yeah. And there's some problems with this, but it's why Reddit has grown to be such a massive influencer, because it's perceived, and it's not always, but it's perceived as regular people talking, and they're not experts. But it comes off as more trustworthy. The problem is they're not experts. And then over here you have, self-proclaimed experts. Some of them maybe even know the domain, but it's biased, exactly like you said. So they are going to send a message that may not even dovetail with what they believe. And then there's a bunch of people in the middle that I think actually are actual experts, but they're quiet. They're not sharing it. They don't feel comfortable sharing it. They don't even recognize how much information, how much expertise they actually have. Although maybe sometimes they sneak onto Reddit here and there.
Right. Well, two things about Reddit, right? One is, I told you I had like a comment taken down on Reddit because it was about cash flow. I'm like, shit, I wrote a couple books, a little bit about cash flow. But because my profile didn't have CPA, or my profile didn't have something, so they thought that I didn't know shit, so they took it down. Because in Reddit, I just took whatever they assigned me as the profile, and it's like, Angry Goose 1435. It's like nobody knows who anybody else. It's one of the cool things about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it got taken down as not an expert, even though what I was saying was right, and it wasn't promotional of anything.
And it's kind of disturbing because, again, it's like Reddit, if that's the approach they're taking, are encouraging self-proclaimed,
It's not Reddit. It was the group that
the moderator.
The moderator of the group, right? So there's just like an individual that thinks they're the expert. So if they don't like what you say, they'll take you out.
Yeah, and it's sad if what you wrote, because I guarantee you whatever you wrote, if I read it, would be bang on obvious to people that have run a business, because like if it was cash flow related, finance related, this is stuff that's going back a few thousand years. Like there's nothing all that magical about it, right?
Accounting is 750 years old. I think even some people will argue that it's like 5,000 years old.
Yeah.
But the double entry accounting, like the Medicis and all this type of stuff, I mean, it's all like years old. Yeah.
Came 10,000 years after cash flow. I'm waiting on that skin because I got to give the bucket of potatoes to the guy next door, right?
Yeah. So, but here's the thing about what you said on experts is that, to me, experts were always like gatekeepers of information. You had to find one to get the right answer, right? I mean, and now you just have to go to the comment section.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, but what you're saying is the Reddit will filter those out. Now I don't even know who the expert is.
Yeah, and it's it's a little scary. And you know what? Like I heard the other day that AI search engines, they're going to use your blog, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Reddit. Those are the top 4 sources that they'll use to try and decide if you know what the hell you're talking about and deliver it. But as you've seen, oftentimes it's the loudest and most confident, not right, loudest and most confident get all the followers, all of the traffic, this is what AI engines are trained on. So even when you had your stuff taken down by Reddit, but there's other people that, like I said, maybe they have CPA behind their name, have never run a business, but they took accounting, which is recording and reporting, not running a business, giving business advice that is higher ranked on Reddit and picked up by AI engines. And, you start to see the reason that these AI systems, LLMs, are not necessarily informed or right, because it's garbage in, garbage out. And how does it discern what is smart and what isn't?
Well, it's like Wikipedia, right? If you're looking at SEO, I mean, from a Wikipedia type standpoint, it's one of the best websites because it gets so much traffic, right? It's pretty trusted. It's supposed to be vetted. And I know there's problems with it, but there's probably problems with every single website you ever look at.
Everything. Yep.
So Jeff, the guy that does my marketing, says, "Hey, you don't have a Wikipedia page." I've never tried to get a Wikipedia page. I don't even know anything about that.
Yeah.
He tried a year ago to get me a Wikipedia page and couldn't do it because there wasn't enough articles, even though he provided them with like 20 articles or some shit like that out there that weren't written by me, that weren't on my website, that were third-party sources. He combined all that, and it got declined for lack of something or another. And I'm like going, must be damn hard to get a Wikipedia page. Maybe I should trust more of what it is. Right?
Yeah. And it's interesting that I does AI actually use Wikipedia often or not? Because I have heard it's Reddit. It actually Google on SEO also, from what I've heard, from what I understand, values, I would say probably overvalues Reddit because they see it as probably impartial. I don't think it's that impartial. I don't think it's necessarily moderated that well.
They haven't read the comments because there's like, I could probably pull up Reddit right now where there's some probably worse than Twitter or Facebook or whatever comments on things. Is that impartial? Maybe that's impartial, but it's violent. It's like,
and can be utterly, completely ill-informed, but get cred. And that's kind of disturbing. So what do you trust? Like, what do you trust today? Right? Like, it's amazing how experts that have frankly, no credibility are overvalued. Researchers are undervalued. Science is suddenly dropped way down. Now I get it. It's not like scientific papers don't have their biases in that as well, except that with those, they're viewed so harshly. It's like you're shunned by your peers if they see gaps and say that's done improperly, done wrong. So there's at least like a ruler slapping people on the wrist. But it's funny how the public can throw shade and call into question highly vetted sort of research data, but follow the influencer on Instagram that, just got paid to shill the latest vacuum, right?
That leads me to believe, not to believe. It's the people I see give me conflicting information. One month they'll say this, and the next month they'll say that. For instance, I had a guy I was listening to, and he was talking about how everything that content creators make should be available for free to everyone. Right? That's what he's saying. And in most cases, it is, right? And you can kind of get to almost anything while he's selling his content.
That's
Wait a second. That doesn't make any sense.
And that devalues it devalues information. Like if you devalue it, how do you actually have researchers? How do you have people that actually can build a livelihood? It's down to the lowest common denominator, which is self-generated content by non-experts as a weekend pastime. And you take all of the professionalism out of it because they're not professional, because they're not getting paid for it. But the trick is, how do you say, if you're biased because you're getting paid by somebody that is actually there to, you owe them or you have to take their point of view or whatever, is very different from researchers that are paid. And I get it. Like I hear of all the weird, sometimes what look kind of like bizarre research projects that are supported with dollars. But what that also tells me is, yeah, but you know what? They're being kind of impartial. Like they're just kind of going, yeah, you want to research that? Contribute to the knowledge as long as you follow your research guidelines, your research methods. And that's really what you're judged by, right?
All right. So for 6 seasons, we've pretty much given away free content. Pretty much. I mean, and we get paid for it, right? We get paid for it, but it's not like we're asking people. I mean, I guess we do ask people. I don't know what to say about that. But for the most part, I mean, the average user can just get to our stuff for free.
Yeah.
Even if you sponsor, it's a volunteer. Hey, I like that message. I want to sponsor that message. Mm-hmm. It's a choice. You can still, as a sponsor, even if you choose not to sponsor or give us money, you can still listen to the material.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I would want to go the other way where you could only get to our stuff, if you paid. In this case,
yeah. But you are not, neither of us are actually making our livelihood through the Mike and Blaine show, right? Like it's fun. And at most we might get a lead or two because almost by accident, someone finds it and finds us. Right. But that's not what we do. Like, of course you have your coaching. I have dry run. That's what drives revenue. Right. But there's people out there that the information, the research and the information, because like we've already said, we're not experts at any of this because we don't research it. We just kind of jabber on about it. Right. But there are experts that do the research and it's like, yeah, they have to be compensated for it because that's what they contribute. Where we're contributing something else, or you're contributing coaching, that's separate, right? That has to be compensated.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I have video courses of specific, exact how to do something. That's what I sell. I sell my expertise of the techniques I created, or that's what I sell. Mm-hmm. And even more than that, I've got, not just the video course, you got the coaching, the live stuff, and you got the software that, goes with it. But to me, what we're doing here is not about, we don't sell this because that's not, two things I like about this. I like talking to you, and this gives me a reason to do it. Second, we do it for establishing who we are on the internet, believe it or not. I mean, because it gives us content to put it out there. So we're trying to build the trust, credibility, and authority of being folks in the cash flow space, not the whatever hell we talk about every week space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. But people do. I mean, last week I was in Utah, a room full of SBDC advisors. A lot of people are going, "Oh, you got a podcast?" There's something about having a podcast that people automatically connect a little bit more trust to what you say.
Yeah. And I think, it's one of the reasons that, like this podcast with you, I do because it's fun and we do it every week. I've got a couple other podcasts. They're much less frequent, but we do keep them up as a business from Dry Run. We keep these up because people can see that we're real. It's not AI generated slop. That's a real person talking with another real person about a topic that's kind of interesting. And it's about building trust and credibility. Exactly what you said. People can see us, they can hear us, they can build trust and credibility in us, because I think we're honest. Like, even at the start of the show, through this whole show, we're saying, like, we're talking about this. We're not experts. We're not self-proclaimed experts in it. But if you actually looked at the experience that we've probably both had over the last, how many years, we've interacted with experts, and we've learned the hard way at times how dangerous sometimes self-proclaimed experts who are not experts at all, how much damage they can do to a business in particular.
Well, in our viral 1.3 million view post, you just make a comment, not as an expert, but there are 65,000 other experts that weighed in on it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are had an opinion. I wonder if out of that 65,000, there's probably 5 that are actually experts in there. So it's like, yeah, you know what? It's not like 65,000 experts arguing over it. It's probably a bunch of Joe Blows that, came up with an idea.
I'm going to tell you on that, in the comments section, you usually go there and there's always some type of weird thing that happens, an argument, you just hate it. It makes you mad when you start reading comments. It didn't happen on yours. The way I thought, it was really some civil discourse where people tried to debate the merits of what you said. I was really proud of the people that commented on that post. I mean, even of the people that said you were an idiot, I thought I was proud of them.
I will admit, I didn't read any of the comments, because I know I would be too tempted to go like, yeah, pull your head out of your ass, you're an idiot. Like, I would have been that guy, right? So I was just like, I'll leave a comment stand. I thought it was, there's probably nothing they could write that would. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe if I read through the comments, I would actually change my perception and someone would answer my question. Although I still believe I'm probably pretty bang on with that comment anyway. So
overall, there was really good debate amongst others. We didn't even engage. I don't think we put one comment underneath that. I think it was all
didn't do a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but here's the thing with those type of clips. I mean, that was 60 seconds out of an hour. That clip was that generated 65,000 engagements. Well, think about this. That's what tells you that bad advice spreads fast. I'm not saying what you gave was bad advice, but it does. It just, bad advice spreads fast, and you had a bunch of people. You had half that liked what you said and half that didn't.
And quite frankly, that's when it's like, that tells me it's not 65,000 people saying you're dumb. When it actually has that much debate, that tells me there's merit. There's merit to my comment, right?
Yeah, it should be explored.
Yeah, but it's if I read the comments, I'd probably want to go through 65,000 comments and go, you are, copy paste. You're dumb. You're dumb. You're smart. You're smart. You're dumb. It's just like, that's my comment all the way through. But but it was interesting when you think about, we're an episode, like we're 234 episodes, I think, today, right? That's well over 200 hours of content. And for whatever reason, even out of all the shorts we've done, and we've had some really good views of our shorts. Like, I think we get likely over 100,000 views a month on our shorts. That one struck a note. But what was interesting is it was posted on some other networks. It didn't take off. And so there was some sort of algorithmic, the right people saw it, they had enough followers. It was awarded, and it grew and grew and grew. we may have had comments like out of our shorts over the last, 200 and some episodes that actually could have been a lot more engaging, but for whatever reason didn't get seen by the right person at the right time to start building that momentum. And I got to mention that because this I think is sort of pertinent. So, like I mentioned, we drive up the coast. All I do is listen to podcasts. We got 40 hours over a couple of weeks of driving, or maybe not quite that much, but a lot of driving over the couple of weeks as we go over the coast and up the coast. All podcasts, because music will put me to sleep. So I always have podcasts on. And the ranking of the podcast does not correlate to the quality of the content. There were some top podcasts that I listened to, and I'm like, I listen to them all the time, and the content was so good. And there were others that were in those top 10 podcasts, in those top 10 overall, in those top 10 in a topic area. And you listen, and I'm 5 minutes in, I'm like, this is absolute garbage, self-serving, repetitive garbage. The quality did not relate to the following at all. And I do think it's years and years ago, like we're talking 25 years ago, 20 some years ago or whatever, when the iPhone first came out, we were one of the first ones we had built some apps, put it in the store. One of them shot to the top. And I got to tell you, I don't know if it was the best app. It was a finance app. I don't know if it was the best one. You could not knock it off number one. It would stay. It stayed and stayed and stayed for, I don't know. I sold the company and it was still there for, I don't know how much longer after. It stayed there because people saw it as number one and just kept buying it. And it was almost impossible for anyone to knock us off. But then in another region, we were buried. And it didn't matter what we did. It was so hard to climb up unless you inject a lot of money, because you get a little bit of luck, you get up to the top, and it keeps feeding on itself. Doesn't mean it was the best. It just got time, we got some timing, got love at the right time. And once it was there, you couldn't knock it off.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what happened with that post. Is that, it just takes on the life of its own. You can't, as a creator or somebody that's putting content out there, engage that. I don't know how they can't. I bet even Mr. Beast has some posts that he hates. Oh, why didn't that one take it off? That was 15 times better than whatever. He gets enough views just because he has enough followers, right? Yeah. We have what, 100 followers on Instagram, our Instagram page.
I'm not even sure. We don't do much on Instagram. Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it goes out there somehow or whatever. But I mean, if we do anything on, but
yeah,
I took just a clip of ours, put it on mine. I don't have a lot of followers. I have 1,800.
Yeah,
and it gets 1.3 million views with 1,800 followers.
And we put it on other networks. I'm not sure where else I posted it. After you had that run, I posted it a few places. I'm curious if I put it on my LinkedIn channel, because I got 13,000, I think, followers on there. Doesn't matter. It caught, the right person saw it at the right time. It got momentum. And once it gets momentum, you can't slow it down. And I'm curious with some of these podcasts that are so highly ranked, were they, because the content isn't great, but did they execute really well on the marketing side on building the community? Or did they maybe get a little bit lucky, had a few people listen that were really influential that shared it, and they got lucky, and now they're up there, and all they have to do is release every week, and they keep it. They keep the eyeballs.
Yeah. So here was there's always something happens in my life that says, here's a good topic for us.
Yeah.
Last week, Meta had that big layoff. You remember that?
Didn't hear that. I was a little bit in a black box last couple of weeks traveling. So yeah.
So there's a big layoff of, we'll say Facebook, but it's not Facebook, it's Meta or whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'm seeing everybody in the world that has all these posts about, hey, here's how to get hired fast. Here's the one skill you need to get. I mean, all these coaches come out of the woodwork because they know all these people are going to start to be desperate about what do I do next, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because your life changed in a minute, just because not because what you did, because the company had to, change, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like going, where are all these experts at? Because we still have unemployment. Where are you at now? Why did we not hear from you until there was a headline?
And my first, my gut reaction is if I was looking for a job, go to every single one of those articles, copy and paste it into, I don't know, Chat GPT or whatever, and say, give me the top points, the correlation, and summarize all of these articles into their top 10 recommendations. And then I will do the opposite. Because, everybody else is following the same dumbass, likely ill-informed advice. Just use your own logic, use your gut. There are times, I got to tell you, there are times now, we've been at Dryron for a while now, and we're really getting some traction now. And I look back and it's the advice I got. I think the so-called expert advice we got, it was less than 50% was actually good. And I actually think more than 50% in the end was probably damaging. And it was harder to discern at the time. And now I would be very much consider the source. And when I say consider the source, what have they done? And it's not equivalent. It's what have they done? End of story, right? And then you sort of consider that. But I look back and think, man, how damaging it was probably at times for our business, and how damaging at times it was for all of these other businesses that are following the so-called experts. And the amazing thing is, it's in ways have come back full circle and went, geez, my gut instinct, which we've talked about before, is virtually just pattern recognition and understanding, listening to clients and just following that. And if I would have tuned out experts or not even talked to a single one, I wonder if I'd actually be further ahead if we had just went no, I'm not listening to you, blah, 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 blah. I'm not listening, only listening to the customer, nobody else. I think we actually would probably be further ahead than all of the so-called expert stuff info we got over the years.
Well, I mean, yeah, we get kind of blinded by the fact that, oh, you're one of my investors, you must know more than me. That ain't always the truth either.
No.
So it's one of those things. Here's what I think I learned, right, over the last, what has it been, 55 minutes or something like that. I don't think that expertise or the death of experts is about experts going away. I don't think that they're going away at all. I just think they're being drowned out, right? That person that really knows is being drowned out by all the other stuff that's happening, in the comment sections, in the videos, in the ads, on TV, whatever. They're being drowned out. The people really know what's happening.
Well, and I also think to a degree, they're not good at the marketing side, and they honestly probably just don't care enough. They care about their expertise. They care about their area of expertise. Oftentimes that's where it ends. Now, I will say, as my last comment, I'm like, what if I had tuned out all these experts? I think the furthest ahead I would be by far is if I had done exactly what I said, is considered the source and not equivalency. Considered the source and went, entrepreneur fighting the same fight I am, and is maybe where I'm at, maybe a little ahead, maybe even a little further back, but there's still value there because it's based on actual experience and the complicated cloud of everything that mixes together, and tune out the loudmouths And I think that my number one rule today is if someone seems incredibly confident, it raises a flag. It raises a bigger red flag. But no matter who it is, I want to know their background. I want to know their CV. I want to know what they've done. And it isn't that they've won necessarily, right? Like, I will trust someone that has fought all the way to Game 7 in the Stanley Cup and has not won, are going to have so much more valuable insight than the loudmouth that's only watched on TV and never picked up a stick and never laced on the skates, because they're the loud. That is literally the best example. They watch the game. They know everything. They're the armchair quarterback. They are the loudest, most confident bunch on the planet. And then when you see the people that actually battle through it, and they're usually kind of they're kind of like, well, you know what, it's tough. Like we tried this, we tried that, and they don't have a lot of confidence in explaining what is happening.
Yeah.
But they're the experts, and you can look at that track record and go, yeah, that's what they did. There was I'm going to sort of paraphrase here because I just can't remember. I saw just this little tidbit of Mark Messier was on and I just read about it. I didn't see the clip. I'll have to look it up. But he was on an after hours after a hockey game the other night. The Oilers won it, but they didn't look necessarily 100% great when they won it. And one of the other commentators who also played the game, and he said something like, yep, no, not good. They did not look like they're in control of the game. And I guess from what I read, Messier was really quiet for a second, and he'd be so freaking intimidating, that guy. And he just kind of looked up and he said, what I saw was that they won. They delivered when they had to deliver. They had experience to do, and they won. And it was so amazing because he's one of the best leaders in sports, and you realize that that's what it comes down to, that experience where he just said they found a way to win. They bent, but they didn't break. And it's like, oh, that was interesting. That was really insightful. And then you consider the source and you go, yeah, I guess done it.
All right, man. Hey, one of my favorite episodes, man. This has been a good one. So I appreciate that. This is the reason why we keep coming back every week, is my hope that you as the listener got something out of this like I did. So I appreciate you. And, what can they do to help us?
They will like, subscribe, follow. Please, I know we're at the end of the show here. If you're still watching, please like, subscribe, follow, and buy us a beer. MikeandBlaine.com. You can buy us a beer. Or you can even reach out and contact us, beer@mikeandblaine.com. That's our new email address. Reach out. We would love to hear from you, and would love to have you sponsor the episode, or the show. $5 an episode, we'll talk about you. So thanks again, man. This was so fun. I love that I can travel all the way across North America, and Thursday afternoon I can still pop on and chat with you. It's the most fun part of my week.
Right on, man. I forgot we had an email.
Yes, I know it's new.
All right, there we go.